people have to walk not only to working place and the school, anything in their life they have to do by walking, even to fetch firewood, to fetch water, to fetch their day-to-day requirements like salt, pepper and whatnot. So mainly their effort is spent on walking. And compared with the high scale of malnutrition, and you can imagine the effort that they have to make for their livelihood.
The Ratnapura district is the 6th largest in Sri Lanka. It has a land area of 3,239 square kilometers and an average density of 246 people per square kilometer. The average annual population growth rate is 2%, somewhat more than the national rate of 1.7%. This statue of the Buddha standing on a hill overlooks Ratnapura, the largest town in the district. The old clock tower dominates the town center. Here, the density of population is more than 2,059 people per square kilometer. Ratnapura is known as the city of gems, where precious and semi-precious stones are found. Gem pits are excavated in the middle of paddy plots or other fields. The gem industry is Sri Lanka's 4th most important earner of foreign exchange. But only a small percentage of Ratnapura's inhabitants benefit from it. The majority of the people, 80%, live in rural areas and have to depend on agriculture for their daily income. They must live on the profit made out of the fields where rice grows, the paddy fields. Livestock is another source of income. Milk is collected every morning by the daily routine of milking a cow. Agricultural products also supplement the income. Agriculture here is mainly based on chaina cultivation, which, with a population growth of 2%, means there is a constant need for new land. This is met by cutting down and burning trees, which, however, has huge implications for the environment. Trees help the soil to absorb and retain water and help prevent landslides. Therefore, the conservation of trees now is an insurance for later generations. Because of population growth and land hunger, people start to live in backward areas where there are no proper roads, and sometimes they have to wade across rivers to get to the nearest village. Quite often, even if you can afford to go by bus, to travel to the nearest hospital or doctor is a long journey. Cooking is mostly done with firewood, which has to be gathered from various places. Old tea bushes and old rubber trees are used for this purpose, and up to now there's been enough to serve the area's firewood needs. In this district, the main problem is not the lack of water. There is enough water for daily needs. But very few people have water connections to their homes or even nearby. So they have to collect the water or wash themselves somewhere else, at a well or in the river. Although the water looks very refreshing and clean, the fact that 40% of the diseases here are waterborne shows that a lot of it is contaminated. The river is the place where all kinds of things happen, like bathing and washing clothes. And not only human beings like to amuse themselves in the river. To deal with the problems of the rural areas, the Sri Lankan government has established integrated rural development projects, and these projects are done in cooperation with donor agencies. The Integrated Rural Development Project Ratnapura is part of a national structure. Planning is done at different levels. At the national level, the Integrated Rural Development is under the umbrella of the Ministry of Plan Implementation. This ministry has a regional development division. Here, national guidelines are prepared in close cooperation with the different line ministries and also with donor countries. This contact is two-directional consultation. At district level, there is the planning unit and the Integrated Rural Development Project, the IRDP. Regional planning is done by the IRDP, through which the line departments and the implementing agencies are involved as well. At area or village level, there are the planning cells. These cells are chaired by the assistant government agents, and local level organizations are part of them as well. The planning is done from national to village level and vice versa. At village meetings, the planning at area level is done. The IRDP focuses with integrated packages of activities on backward areas, the so-called key areas, which are geographically defined. Here, a meeting organized in cooperation with the irrigation department is in progress. The subject is the irrigation of the area. Some farmers are a bit disappointed in all the promises that all the different groups have made about solving their problems, because only minor improvements have been made so far. They like to talk about everything in detail, and the planners have to convince the farmers of the necessity of their proposals. So in this way, people have the opportunity to discuss plans with the planners and to hand over their own ideas. At this meeting, about land use, plans are made with farmers on how to make better use of the land and soil. Sometimes, however, the discussion centers on one main topic, and here it is irrigation. In this area, people are willing to do anything to solve this problem.
If we are provided with buckets, we can irrigate the area ourselves.
And they want any cut here? Here.
All remarks made are taken into account. At the next meeting, new proposals will be discussed.
They propose to take those water to this area and irrigate this area.
At district level, the plan's progress is reviewed once every 3 months by the District Coordinating Committee.
That is the percentage of what is achieved. So you can see the roads component achieved financially 60.5% of their total targets. Reservation which is made, 41 million cash disbursement next year. If we could achieve that, I would not be unhappy. The actual proposed schedule of operations, as you see it now in column G, it is set there, schedule of operations version 4.0. Now all the school buildings...
The IRDP staff present their observations, and the line departments and implementing agencies can elaborate on their points of view on the different matters involved.
That I undertook, I have completed except one, that is Rangwala. Rangwala allocation came to me, or it was finalized during the second quarter.
If we would construct with buildings department, they will have their own contractors, but still we have to subcontract. Education department. If
Together,
they produce the same contract,
they try to find solutions to make things run smoother.
So maybe the meeting could then suggest this type of measurements.
The District Coordinating Committee is chaired by the District Minister.
As politicians elected by the people, we have to satisfy the entire electorate within a given period. Politicians, whether in the Asian countries or in the Western countries, always work with an eye on the next elections. If we select certain areas of an electorate to be developed, then we face trouble. Then at the same time, time is a very important factor for the politicians. In an integrated rural development project, we come across these drawbacks. Especially if we select a key area, then people in the electorate will oppose us. Then the other problem is the time factor. In an integrated development project, they select a key area and they take a very long time to do the initial planning. So these are the drawbacks of an integrated rural development project. But on the other hand, if we consider the development of the district on a long-term basis, then integrated development projects are good. Because we consult the people, then they participate, and in the end we draw up very good plans.
The Vice Chairman is the government agent.
So far, of course, we have been used to isolated planning and execution. But under an IRDP, all the line agencies must come together, must coordinate to achieve the target we have for a particular area. Of course, in the beginning we had a few problems, maybe because I think to be a little critical, the project staff perhaps tried to be too independent and coordinating was by and large lacking. Coordination, of course, is a very complicated and difficult task. A lot of tact and experience is essential for proper coordination. But I am of the belief that right now we are in a much better position because unlike in the first 2 years, in the third year of operation, our achievement was very considerable.
A representative of the Netherlands Embassy is also part of the committee.
It's clear that we have to work within the development policy that has been accepted by our parliament. It is not, well, the embassy has little authority to carry out its own, or no authority at all, to carry out its own development policy. We are working within a framework, within policy guidelines that have been designed by our government in The Hague and have been approved by our parliament. And our parliament is very keen on long-term effectiveness of the programs that we carry out. Depending, of course, on circumstances, there may be short-term activities, but those are mostly in the case of emergency relief. But when we come to regular development programs, our government and our parliament are more interested in the long-term results than in short-term results.
The IRDP project director is the secretary of the committee.
In fact, I can group the main objectives of IRDP Ratnapura into three. One is to enhance the development in backward areas and target groups of people in the district through an integrated package of activities to improve really their basic needs. And secondly, to promote their income generating activities. The second objective is to reinstate and maintain the lost ecological balance in the district. And the third objective is to decentralize the planning procedures as much as possible and get the people's participation at various levels and throughout the entire process of planning.
Representatives of the Regional Development Division and implementing agencies are invited to this meeting. Also present during the District Coordinating Committee sessions are members of Parliament.
I am of the opinion that the IRDP programs would become a success only if the members of Parliament get involved in these programs. Earlier, in the first 2 years, the IRDP did not pay attention to the comments and criticism made by the members of Parliament, and therefore most of the teething problems occurred.
My electorate lacked so much in the matter of roads, bridges, the schools, and therefore in deciding upon, in making my request to the integrated rural project Ratnapura, I had to give highest priority to the construction of roads and bridges.
Integrated development calls for a multi-sectoral approach. The three main sectors are the green sector, the physical infrastructure sector, and the social and economic infrastructure sector. These three sectors can be subdivided. In the green sector, there should be a balance between exploitation of the soil and environmental protection through forestry, agriculture, soil conservation, irrigation, and animal husbandry. The colored dots behind the activities show that the activity is strongly related to either the social economic sector, beige, or physical infrastructure, purple. The activities under this heading have a clear visible impact. They are roads and bridges, education, water supply, sanitation, service centers, energy. The green dot indicates that the activity is related to the green sector as well. Social and economic infrastructure consists of health education, off-farm employment, local level organization, training, mainly forestry, women activities.
Well, you see now I'm just working on one of the data processing actions with the computer. We are processing all data concerning our key areas and our district components. That means that we start in the project areas with baseline surveys concerning data collection on households, how many people are living there, what is their condition of the living, how many schools are there, is there water supply available or not, the sanitary situation, what is the need of latrines, are there any roads at all, would it be important to open up roads, etc. So all these data we collect and then we process them. It is not the aim, nor can it be, of an IRDP to upgrade the whole district within a 10 years perspective up to a level which is very much more than at the moment. We can only set examples. We can only set certain approaches as an example, and through that motivate people and motivate line departments, and to show that you can do something in the district if you work together.
The Muttetupola key area is one of the backward areas in Ratnapura where a range of activities takes place. For example, in future, a little further up this river, a bridge is going to be built. It'll open up the area. Here, a start is made with land use planning. The IRDP project staff have, with the help of volunteers and aerial photographs, surveyed the area. They are on their way to a meeting with the volunteers.
This area they've called all Chena land, number 5. So we'll have a look at the photographs also.
The volunteers are trained to read the aerial photographs and to make maps. After that, the maps are used to provide a clear picture of what different uses are made of the land and which area has which kind of agriculture. On the basis of these maps and of discussions with the farmers, plans will be made how to make better use of the land.
We'll go in the field and check up a few points here. But over there, that plot, there are bananas and some coconut trees. So on the map it's still supposed to be Chena. So there are no houses, and the owners live in Gallinea, yeah? But they cultivate it every year.
Yeah. They are doing 2 seasons.
2 seasons even. And they have annual permits for every year.
Here, the maps are being studied and discussed in the field to provide the planners with an optimal knowledge of the area. And so, on a local level, land use planning is done in close cooperation with the people of the area themselves. This well was planned and implemented with help and funds from the IRDP Ratnapura. As in this area, irrigation is thought very important, a trial will be carried out to irrigate part of the land with water out of this well. In another part of this area, the IRDP has set up a milk collecting center. On their way to school, children can bring that day's milk to this center. The milk is tested, and according to the quantity and quality, their parents get paid for it. Every morning, a car collects the milk churns and takes them to a place where the milk is distributed. This system works very well, although some mornings things don't run as smoothly as you'd wish. This milk collecting center is part of a community center in which there are separate rooms. In the future, they'll be occupied by a development officer, a visiting veterinarian, and an agricultural instructor. Near this center is a school building. There, the IRDP took care of replacing one of the old buildings, which is in such bad condition that it can hardly be used for teaching in. Quite soon, the new building will take over as the venue for classes, and students will have a better place in which to study. While their children are at school, mothers can go to the new well to fetch water, which they carry home. The IRDP provides only community water supply and no private home connections. But in private households, latrines are built. These latrines are built in places where there are no sanitary facilities and where the occupants of the houses are food stamp holders, people who earn less than 750 rupees a month. To open up the Muttetupola area, this road was constructed. It facilitates the movement not only of bullock carts and motorbikes, but also tractors and lorries. An example of off-farm employment. Here, the IRDP made some capital investments to help this new industry start in the Muttetupola area, a brick-making industry. Before you can start a brick-making industry, you need an oven to bake the bricks. But for an oven, you need at least 30,000 stones. These stones are used to build the oven, and while the oven burns for the first time, the stones are baked as well. The IRDP helped with basic funds to produce the first 30,000 stones. And now it looks as if the workers are more than halfway there. And another off-the-farm activity with more emphasis on women. The IRDP took care of this sewing center. The sewing center is part of a market. This market was built with the help of IRDP Ratnapura, and here people can sell their home gardening surplus as well. While buying and selling on market days, people can also buy the products of the sewing center. People of the Colonne area are helping to clear a newly constructed road. The road was constructed on the basis of community participation. They are paid for this labor because the IRDP feels that in that way they can provide some extra income in these backward areas. The trees planted at the borders of the road are part of an IRDP reforestation project. These trees protect the borders of the road. This area is not fully electrified. Therefore, a solar panel provides this school with enough electricity for lights and a television set so that the students can watch educational programs. A financially important activity in the IRDP is bridge building. But the problem is that maintenance is not part of the IRDP's responsibilities, and without maintenance, these investments are only short-term ones. Together with the Forest Department, the IRDP organizes courses for forestry volunteers. This is one of the activities that is not directly focused on a key area. It's a one-week course where people are taught about the function of trees and forests in society, deforestation, causes and effects.
විදිහට හොඳට කලවම් කරලා ගත්තොත් තමයි අපිට එකම ගණන්යකට හිටින හැටියට මේ බීජ පාත්‍ය පුරාම ඉසින්නට පුළුවන් වෙනවා.
Aspects of small-scale reforestation and a basic training is given on the technical aspects of reforestation, such as nursery projects, site preparation and planting.
අපි මෙන්න මේ වගේ උල් කරපු දී කැලක ආධාරයෙන් මෙහෙම ඈතින් ගලුවොත් මේ වගේ ජලයක් පසුත් කනංගල මඩ වගේ.
Maintenance and protection of plantations form another aspect of this training. Further instruction is given on varieties of trees indigenous to the Ratnapura area. Here an excursion takes place to a part where reforestation is done. Students can see for themselves how things are in practice. This hillside is protected by planting fast-growing trees. A mixture of local and exotic species are planted here. The Ratnapura district also has estates, in this case tea estates. On this estate, a mini hydro scheme was built. Although the scheme functions excellently, the IRDP decided not to repeat this trial because the costs are too high in comparison with the benefits. Another activity that is done on the estates is renovation of lines, the barracks where estate workers live. Another activity that is not strictly related to a key area is the wood stove program. From clay, ash and cow dung, manure, this artisan makes a mixture. The mixture serves as building material from which the complete wood stove is built over a pottery liner. People who want to have a wood stove in their houses have to buy the inside pottery liner. Then the artisan comes and builds the wood stove in the kitchen. The total cost of a wood stove is 45 rupees, but the new owners have to pay only 15 rupees. In the Ratnapura district, 25,000 wood stoves have been installed up to now, and the aim is to provide about 50,000 households in the next 3 years with a wood stove each. Wood stoves use less wood and are safer than the traditional way of cooking. A pot and a water kettle can be heated simultaneously. In 1987, the IRDP Ratnapura budget was 40 million rupees. Subdividing this budget into the three main sectors, the green sector used 23% of it, the social economic sector 6%, and for physical infrastructure 71%. Looking at the number of projects, which gives an indication of the manpower and attention required, the green sector has 47% of the total amount of projects, social and economics still 5%, and the physical infrastructure 48%. The social and economic sector uses the same amount of attention financially and regarding manpower, but the green sector uses more manpower than is shown in the financial figures, while the physical infrastructure is consuming more money for fewer projects.
I would like to see that we do not try to impose things on people, but try to see the things from the point of view of the people.
All people involved in the project will agree on that, but the main constraint is that the people themselves, their representatives, politicians and planners all have their own points of view and opinions on the identification of the target group's needs. And what happened to the hazardous bridge the film started with? It collapsed due to weak construction and floods. Now people have to cross the river on little raft ferries, and they're waiting until a new and stronger bridge is rebuilt. This will also be an IRDP Ratnapura project.